welcome everyone to the community session March 2025 version. First of all, happy March Day, I was trying to collect some of them. Happy Patrick's Day a few days back for those of you that celebrated that. Also, Ramadan Mubarak for those of you that are fasting this time of the year. Take good care of you. Happy spring. Easter is coming and KubeCon is coming. I'm sure depending on your location, I'm missing some stuff going around. Sorry for that. We have a packed agenda today with content, with friends, and with friends' content. So let's just get going. We have also, just to pause for a second, the meeting is recording, right? Yes, it's recording. Awesome. So for the agenda today, we're going to touch base quickly on the release highlights. We just shipped 137 yesterday with a lot of changes. We're going to, as always, cover that in a nutshell. We're going to talk a little bit about birthdays in Backstage, since we just had yet another one last Sunday. We're going to touch base quickly on Backstage KubeCon, and then we're going to have a couple of sneak previews. I believe there are 6 of them, if I counted correctly, but we'll see how much time we have in there, and I'll make more comments in a bit. But that said, let's just get going with the release highlights. Now, normally I cruise through this, but this release in particular had so much in it that I was out of my depth completely. So we've got a couple of maintainers here to help voice this out. Vincenzo, tossing this first to you.
Yep, thank you, Mihai. Yep, let's start. Good improvements in this release. These are the main highlights. So first in the list, we have some removals of all backend system support, which has been removed from Hub, Events, Proxy Search, Tech Docs, and User Settings plugins. So if you have already migrated to the new backend system, that's fine. You don't have to do anything. If you haven't, we encourage you to do so in order to bump these plugins. Note that the Search and Tech Docs plugins needed a major version bump, so make sure that you bump the version accordingly in your package.json. If you're using the Backstage plugin, that's fine. This should be done automatically for you. Otherwise, use the upgrade helper just to double check that everything is bumped correct. So second in the list, we have a better front-end discovery. So this is useful for adopters who have split backends. So basically, they have deployed their backend plugins into different Backstage app. And up until now, in order for your frontend to reach out to the backend of each plugin, you had to write your own discovery API. From this version of Backstage, you can just use appconfig for defining the base URL of each backend plugin. So you can basically define the base URL of each plugin under the discovery endpoints appconfig, similar to how you would do it when you're configuring the backend discovery service. Regarding this front-end discovery topic, there is more coming in the next week, so wait for KubeCon to know more. Then the next change that there is a change that affected the test databases utility. If you're using this utility without passing any customization, so there will be a breaking change. So that basically it will run Postgres major version up to 17. So if you use this utility, your test will run with those new major version of Postgres. So check it out. And the other change affected the link command, which is basically used to throw errors for warnings. Now instead, warnings are treated as warnings. So if this is a problem for you, there is a flag to restore the previous behavior. And next on the list, scaffold create template action. There you can now use Zod for defining your schemas. So your action will become more readable and less error prone for writing your inputs and outputs. And then we had a bump of TypeScript for our internal toolings, which now use TypeScript 5.6. New Backstage apps are going to be based on TypeScript 5.8. The recommendation is to bump your Backstage app at least to 5.6 so that it matches the same TypeScript version that is used by our internal toolings. Then we had an improvement on a catalog kind of corner case issue. We called catalog orphan providers. And basically, a corner case issue happened when you have a provider that emits some entities, and eventually you remove that provider from Backstage. This caused the entities previously ingested by that provider to stay in Backstage unless you manually clean up. And now there is also a configuration to allow Backstage to automatically remove those entities if the relative provider has been removed. And then, last but not least, we had some new front-end system improvements, but I will pass it over to Camila for this.
Okay, so if you are trying out the new front-end system, there is now a new dialog API that helps you interact with dialogues, in particularly from code that lives outside of the React tree, such as callbacks. There is also a new extension factory meter. It is a way of you intercepting factories and injecting code when we are calling the factors, for example, for debugging purpose or for analytics. We made a few improvements in the new entity page. You currently now can override the entity page header via extension, group more than one entity contents in a single tab, and you can also create custom layouts for the overview tab using entity filters. Last but not least, we have a new catalog query format. It is currently used only by the front end, where you can specify conditions. But we have a plan to eventually extend that ability for the server side of the plugin as well. And when you are calling the create specialized app, you are going to see a new return type. This change was made for a feature framework improvement. I guess that's all from my side, Mihai.
Thank you so much, both of you. Appreciate all of this. And probably in conclusion, I'll say that, yeah, huge thanks as always to the whole team of maintainers, contributors, and frankly, the broader community to make this release happen. Always the expression, it takes a village to ship a release, and Backstage for sure does not make exception for that. So thank you all for that. Appreciate it. On that note, moving on to some happy birthday. Should have turned on my audio for this, but perhaps next time. The Backstage open source framework turned 5 last Sunday. We consider 16th of March as on the 2020 as the birthday officially, is when Spotify made the GitHub repo public. So that's when we kind of like set the counter for. We donated it to CNCF as a sandbox project just 6 months after that. And look where we are now. Just before this call, I was trying to sneak into some of the GitHub. Let me make sure I get this right. Stats. We are shy of 30K stars in GitHub, 6K forks, and more of 1,600 contributors. And yet another beautiful KubeCon, BackstageCon coming in London. So I'm very, very excited for that. Happy birthday, Backstage. Now, speaking of the birthday, what better way to celebrate 5 years of Backstage than actually the BackstageCon and KubeCon? And for that, we invited some of our friends and to give us a sneak preview of their BackstageCon talks. Now, where are we? 12 minutes in, we're pretty good on time. So please give us a sneak peek, as much or as little as you want. You can steal the screen as well. I can turn off my stuff if you have slides. Otherwise, you can just voice over as I navigate. I'll call you in order. But ideally, share a little bit about your talks to get the community interested in the talk. You can just name the talk if you want and a brief overview or a main takeaway, or you can go in more depth, up to you. We've got quite a bit of time for them. We've got about 6 or 7, about what's that, 40 minutes. So yeah, that's good time for everyone. Let's see who is here first. Am I passing this first to Stan?
That's me. I got it. Thanks, Mihai.
Do you want me to take off my screen? Do you want to keep it, voice it, or how do you want to do it?
I'm just going to do voice. Everyone has to roll with my wonderful voice today. All my prep work will be revealed on Tuesday, a couple weeks time. So some familiar faces. It's great to see a few of you here, but also excited to be here. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Stanley Nickel. I work on the customer success team at Spotify Backstage, and so I will be chatting with everyone. The title of my talk, Unlocking Backstage Potential, Driving Adoption and Maturity with Your Developer Community. And so after a year and a half of talking to countless number of adopters, whether I'm supporting them commercially or just in the open source world, I came up with some trends. I identified some trends and some needs and some repeat conversations that I thought I would be able to share with the broader community that I'm really excited about. And really, this one is all about fostering and enabling your engineering community to be able to supercharge the value that Backstage can bring to your organization. I do believe that this is the foundation or the linchpin that can really unlock a lot of great goodness that comes from Backstage. And so I'll touch a bit on how I came up with that insight, but then I'll dive right into sharing what does it look like to have a more mature engineering community supporting your Backstage instance, and of course some actionable recommendations. Many of them from Spotify, since we've seen such gaudy numbers, whether they be adoption or ROI numbers, but also some from the broader community and some of the adopters that I support as well. So very excited to share some of these things with you all and to talk about community. Back to you, Mihai.
Thank you so much. Excited to looking forward for your talk. Who is up next? Do we have? I believe we don't have Tika. Do we have Jack?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Hello, Jack. On to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Great to be here. Really excited for BackstageCon. And yeah, unfortunately, Tika isn't at this meeting today, but I'm going to be co-presenting a presentation of high performance Backstage for high performing organizations at BackstageCon. So what we're going to be looking at is how kind of Spotify's experience with Backstage and running Backstage at the scale that we do. So we'll be highlighting some issues that we have internally. We'll be looking at how we are getting the most out of developer experience for our engineers. But we'll also be diving into what's it like to be supporting over 100 custom plugins as an owner of Backstage internally and responsible for the code base. All the kind of availability woes that comes into it and how we tackle that at Spotify. And quite interestingly, how we tackle rate limiting issues based on our catalog ingestion strategy. So super excited to share it all with you. And yeah, excited to see you there.
Wonderful. Is it your first KubeCon, BackstageCon, Jack?
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, wonderful. Same for me. So very excited. Nice. Thank you, Jack, for that. Looking forward to your and Tika's session. Let's see, who do we have next? Do we have H&M? Do we have Remy or Tina in the room? I'll pause for a second. I haven't seen them earlier. We may have let me see, a last minute change. All right, if we may need to flip this one at the end, or if not, I just wanted to acknowledge that there's a super interesting panel in there with a lot of adopters in it. So hope to see you all at that talk. Who is coming up next? There we go, Brent. Brent, are you in the call?
I am. Hello.
Hello. Do you want me to turn off my screen? Do you want to take the screen, or are you okay with voicing?
Nope, you're good. I'll just do some voice.
Wonderful. Go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, so I am Brent Swisher. I work at a nonprofit called Ithaca. We work to expand access to education. We're most known for our JSTOR research portal. And we have been using Backstage templates for about two and a half years. We use micro front-end architecture on JSTOR, so we have to spin up a lot of projects. And what we found is that while the templates were great for the end users, click a button, get a project, maintaining those projects over time tended to get a little hard for us. So we spent some time thinking about it, and what we came up with was a custom action that lets us use a working running project. We call them our exemplar projects as the source for our templates. So we don't have a template so much as a running project. So that's what my talk is about, kind of the process for how we got there, how they work, and some of the things that having a running project as a template unlocks. It works really well with tooling like Soundcheck and Renovate and all the other goodies that are hard to run on templates. So yeah, that's my talk. I haven't been to BackstageCon before, so I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Looking forward to meet you there, Brent. Sounds like an exciting talk. Thank you for that. Thank you for the preview. Let's see who's up next. Do we have Paul? I think I've seen Paul in here. Let me double check.
Yes.
Hello.
Let's see.
Do you want to take the screen?
No, I'm fine.
As
is. Yeah. So my talk is well, I'm Paul Schultz. I'm a software engineer at Red Hat. I've been working on just Backstage related stuff for about 2 years now. My talk is mainly going to be on the auditor. So hence the title, Security Behind the Curtains with Event Monitoring. So within 1.36, recently Backstage released the auditor feature. Basically, this talk is going to just discuss about what is auditing, why it's necessary, especially pertaining to big companies, right? Most big companies have compliance laws that they need to follow. And then there's going to be a live demo talking about kind of guiding through a developer how to implement auditing and kind of going from there. Otherwise, yeah, I think it'll be a fun talk just talking about security. So
talking about security is always fun.
Oh yeah.
both of the quotes and without the quotes, depending on who you ask, I guess. Wonderful, awesome. I've seen you a lot in the community as well, so I think it's gonna be nice to cross paths. Paul, looking forward to your session. Thank you for this. Let's see who is up next. Do we have? Yes, we do, because you were the first one to mention this. Yes, go ahead, Chris.
Hey everyone, so many exciting topics. I'm really looking forward to listening to them in person. And I'm also happy to share my screen just to brag a little bit about my beginner level Photoshop skills as we put together a short slide. So let me try this. Desktop 2. Share. Hopefully you'll see. Oh, this is my first time using Zoom. Hang on. I need to allow my Mac to do it. It says Zoom needs to be reopened. You know what? Let's not worry about this slide because I don't want to quit Zoom and try to come back again. Instead, we're just going to talk with Luke. So, hey, everyone. I'm Chris. I have Luke with me. We are from Neo4j, the graph database company. And we are here to give you a little bit of a teaser of our talk at BackstageCon. We are coming from Aura, which is the cloud service that we offer within Neo4j. We have recently bumped into a huge challenge for which we found a very exciting solution. So with this, why don't we tell what the talk is going to be about? Luke, take it away.
Hey, everyone. Imagine this. You're developing a cutting-edge feature for your product. In our case, that's the Neo4j database. And you want to find out, can it withstand the unexpected? What happens when the system is under pressure, when queries come flooding in, and when the infrastructure starts misbehaving? Is that you? That's where automated chaos testing comes into the picture. During our presentation at BackstageCon, we're going to show you how we've built a seamless pipeline from Backstage to Argo workflows, making it easier than ever for engineers, no matter their experience, to trigger complex load and resilience tests with a single click on Backstage.
So we are running over 1,000 Kubernetes clusters across AWS, GCP, and Azure. With such a large-scale cloud offering, we need to ensure that Neo4j stays resilient under stress. That is why we built an internal system that allows engineers to run chaos and load tests effortlessly without needing to write Kubernetes manifests or understand Argo workflows in the first place. So here is the challenge. Most engineers don't live and breathe Kubernetes like we do. I know it's shocking. Some people have actual lives and family and stuff. So asking them to manually configure Kubernetes jobs is just not just inefficient, but also it's a barrier to adoption. So we have automated it.
To manage the running of tests, we first turned to GitHub Actions, but that just wasn't efficient enough for our use case. So instead, we set up Argo workflows, not to be confused with Argo CD, to manage the execution of jobs, cutting test execution time from 12 minutes to just 2. Argo workflows also provides a nice abstraction for jobs we want to run within our clusters, making it super easy for developers to manage. There's no external API calls, there's no authentication headaches, just fast, efficient testing. And instead of forcing them to use kubectl to send API requests, we then linked our tests up to Backstage. And by leveraging the scaffolder, we can provide an intuitive UI that allows engineers to launch tests in seconds, track their execution, and view real-time logs.
Just to sum up, at the end of the day, this is all about empowering engineers. So no more manual toil, no more Kubernetes deep dives, just to run a simple test. We've literally turned kiosk testing into a click of a button. You want to see how? Join us for From Click to Chaos, and we'll take you on a journey from Argo workflows to Backstage, showing you how we built an automated, scalable, and foolproof chaos testing pipeline with rockets and all. Oh, and keep an eye out for the secret code on our slides at BackstageCon because it can help you win a cool free gift. And that was everything from us. Thanks for the attention, and we hope to see you at BackstageCon.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'll be in the first row asking a question about how do you onboard people to OnCall in that all chaos across 3 regions. But more on that in the event itself. Thank you so much for sharing that preview. Looking forward for it. Last but not least, who do we have? State of Backstage. Who's covering this on our end?
I can do this. So this is nowhere near as polished as the previous one, I'm afraid. But so we are going to be giving our maintainer track talk. For anyone that's been to a maintainer track talk before. It's normally, well, in the past it's just been me and Patrick talking a lot about upcoming stuff and what's been happening in the world of Backstage. Doing things a little bit differently this time. We're going to have 5 people on stage, so it's going to be fun. We've got a lot of stuff to cover, so we're going to be going through, you know, the normal SIG updates and project updates. You know, we're 5 years old now. We've got some things to show off what we've been doing the past 5 years. Documentation SIG, you know, scaffolder SIG, all the interest groups that we've been working on, some updates from there. We're going to have a bit of a slightly different way to do it this year, I guess. So we're going to be covering some topics around how we scale like Backstage internally and how we run it at scale. So thinking more like the catalog. We've been doing a lot of work internally to get the catalog working for us, and basically sharing our stories from Spotify's side of like how we scale the catalog and how we ingest our entities and how it works. A little bit of a common misconceptions part. So we're going to be talking a little bit around some things that might help you day to day, I guess. So a little bit more about the Yawn plugin, some catalog model extension things, basically some work there, what we've been working on. And then obviously roadmap and obviously demos, because that's how we do our little maintainer track talks. So please come see it. It's on Wednesday at 4:15. Apparently I never knew that, but now I do. Come see us. We're all going to be there.
Thank you, Ben. I was going to make a joke. I need to check the time zone. Make sure it's the right time zone at the right time.
I forgot to mention one thing. Also, we're going to be talking about Frontend System. Sorry, I missed it off the list. So there's going to be some new Frontend System and Anticipate stuff that Camila's going to cover. I'm sorry, I totally forgot that. That was on my list, but I just totally skipped over that. Yes.
Wonderful. With all the new backend system sort of like slowly being cleaned up, now it's time for the new Frontend System to shine. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Ben. And to conclude on sort of like the previews, I think this was the last one, but obviously this is just a mere subset of what to expect. Make sure to check out the whole schedule. A lot of exciting stuff happening. We're all very excited for London. Yeah, just a quick reminder that at least on our end, the maintainers talks on Wednesday. The second ever Backstage Contribfest happens on Thursday. And I see just in time for Andrew to raise the hand. So I'm just going to give it right now to you because I know you're probably going to comment on that.
Thank you. I thought you were going to go on to the next thing. I was like, wait, I want to talk about Contribfest because I'm super excited about contributing because like that's my jam. So yeah, we're doing another Contribfest. We did this at Salt Lake City for the first time. We had about 40 or 50 people attend. It was really awesome and like very motivating for myself. So we're doing it again in London. I've got Beth from Red Hat, Peter from VodafoneZiggo, Vincenzo and Patrick from Spotify, and myself also from Spotify, who will be kind of running the show, get a chance to contribute to the project. We've got a bunch of really good issues picked out for you. For more advanced people, if you want to come in with your own sort of like, I want to build a plugin, feel free to do that as well. Come early. It will potentially be very busy this time in London. And yeah, very excited about it. Come and contribute. Link to the schedule is posted in the chat.
Mind the gap for Contribfest is coming. Dropped it. Awesome. So thank you so much, Andrew, for covering that. I'm sorry I was going on my feeling here. Sorry for that.
No worries.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. And yeah, last but not least, hopefully I'm not cutting anyone anymore, but I believe, yeah, the last but not least, come say hi at the Project Pavilion. There's going to be a large presence from the Backstage team, and we're looking forward to, yeah, meet you all or re-see you all or reconnect with those of you that have been before. So yeah, come say hi. It's going to be hopefully a great event. And that said, I think that concludes 30 minutes in our session. And as always, we're going to end up with the Q&A, opening the floor for any follow-up questions that you may have. Oh, I see the ideas for Contribfest are already coming up. Andrew, we need to take that. Do we save these? Is Zoom saving the chat, or we should take that? Set that as an action item on the side.
Oh yeah, I think there's already a suggestion for the ideas there. Yeah.
Yep. Vincenzo, do you want to voice that? Because I believe that is perhaps worthy of because I think you raised this yesterday as well. Maybe it's important for everyone to acknowledge because these events can also get very chaotic.
Yeah, I've just posted the schedule for the Project Pavilion. We will be in the booth, a two-way kiosk, and pay attention that the same kiosk is used by other projects under other working hours. So we have the schedule there, we have the link there. Check it, and yeah, if you want to meet us, we'll be there.
Wonderful, thank you so much, Vincenzo. Logistics are essential. All right, pausing for a few more seconds. If there are no more questions, we can wrap earlier. But yes, please go ahead. Unmute yourself and go ahead. Or hopefully you can do that. Or do I need to do it?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, awesome. Hi, I'm not as experienced as you guys. I'm fairly new to the Backstage world. So I'm working as an intern at a company, and I need to implement the a platform for them. So like I've read the docs, but like where would you guys suggest is like a good start point to understand how to go forward?
Could you, sorry, does anyone with maintenance want to jump forward first, or do you want me to try to scope it down? Could you perhaps maybe elaborate again, like what's the end goal that you want to achieve?
Okay. So right now there's no funding for a Backstage project, so they want me to build something just to show the potential. So I'm an intern at Amadeus. They do the airline software.
So we're looking to basically have a proof of concept that you
Yeah,
can
exactly,
show to
exactly.
kind of
Yeah,
like validate the
yeah,
okay,
the
got it,
idea
got it.
and
The idea of that. Andres, you unmuted. Did you want to jump in, or was that?
Yeah, one of the things that I would take a step back on, and I would go kind of figure out what problems do engineers have at your organization, and figure out like the top 3, and then look at what Backstage can do to help solve those problems, and like really like laser focus on using Backstage to solve a problem, because that will potentially get your POC to get funding to be able to go forward with it. So I always like to look at what are the problems that the organization is having, and then use that as your stepping stone to what you want to focus on Backstage. Don't try and do everything, but focus on the like solving a problem, because that's going to get you a lot of value.
do you know any like general issues that companies usually have and like is a good starting point? I mean, I know
There
it's a
can
lot.
be,
Yeah,
there can be many. And again, that's why like you want to talk to your engineers to help sift through that. Maybe there's documentation sprawl all over the place. Maybe they don't know who owns the various services.
yeah,
Maybe they want to standardize how they automate generating services using something like the scaffolder. So I would like, those are just some of the quick things that I can think of. But yeah, I would really talk to the engineers and talk to the teams and learn about what their problems are, because that'll help you really narrow down your scope. You're going to hear some common things.
yeah.
Engineers are generally pretty open to telling you about what they're frustrated about. So that like I say, that's probably how I'd approach it. Because like right now it's probably this big blank canvas and it's hard to figure out where to start.
Okay, so I've got one more question if you have time.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So I already do have a Backstage instance running, but it's currently in the old system, so the old backend. Would you like is it better to migrate it to the new backend first, or upgrade it to 1.37 and then migrate?
I
Is that a
think
valid question?
it depends
I don't
on
know
what
how
your
far
state.
you've gone.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Frederick.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. It depends on how far you've gone. It might sound a bit brusque, but sometimes it may be, if you are at a fairly clean slate, you could even restart from the beginning if you want to do with the new Create app. So then you get all of the latest, standards and whatever, put into place. Hopefully with the new the backend system, this is going to be easier and easier to do that type of operation, because it's like so modular and the index file is so small that you have and so on. It's kind of up to you, I would say. You probably, if you want to go the upgrade path, I would probably go new backend system first and then upgrade. But it's kind of a little bit of a wash, I think. But probably fix your so to speak internal code to be compatible first and then switch, because there's some stuff that is no longer compatible. So otherwise you're going to be, mid migration, worst case, it'll be a bit troublesome. But if your installation is fresh, maybe even a new Create app, like try it at least. It's worth the 5 minutes to see like, oh, it's just a copy paste of 2 files, and then maybe that turns out fine.
Thank you so much.
On your previous question, by the way, I have terrible memory, so I don't have exact references. But this type of open-ended sort of where do I start? Don't we have some materials somewhere, right? Is it on the community side or so? Like essentially, how do I tackle the big questions in the beginning? Start small. The stuff you already said, Andre, but sort of packaged somehow. Don't we have that? Like a link to someone's talk on YouTube or so. My memory is so hazy, but it feels like
I will look into it. So yeah, what I've seen is I've looked at the demos at the docs, and there's also there's a course.
Yeah, the one that Benjamin mentioned in the chat about CNCF course. Yeah, that's also a good shout out, I think. Yeah. Oh yeah, Camila just linked to a talk. I think that's what I'm probably trying to clumsily reach for. It's probably that talk that I'm thinking about. Cool. Yeah, good luck with everything. And feel free to visit Discord and so on, of course. If
I'm already on it, so I will. Yep. Thank you so much.
Cool.
All right, thank you for the question. Any other questions, thoughts, comments, reactions of any sort? Thanks everyone for chiming in with all in here. And yeah, great question again earlier. Sorry, I want to make sure I pronounce your name correctly. Abinai? Did I pronounce that correctly?
You can say whatever. If is Abi easier, you can say Abi. It doesn't matter.
Abi, perfect. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. I apologize for that.
No problem, no problem.
Great question for that. Let me open the chat again. Make sure that there's no questions in here. All right. Well, going once, going twice. If there are no more questions, thank you so much for attending today. Thank you so much for everyone for presenting their sneak previews. We're looking forward to see all of your talks in London. Take good care of all of you out there, and see you all next time. Or if you're joining us in London, hope to cross paths in there. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of the day.